Hey everybody, welcome back to Harris Family Adventures. I have already put out a video about the tips that we have as our family of 3 from the Iberostar Selection Paraiso Lindo in the Riviera Maya. Yes, it's a mouthful. But as I was going through that, I thought, oh, but there's this, and there's this, and there's this, and there's this. So here we go, part 2. Here are things that I didn't mention, or when looking at comments from last year's Iberostar video, that these are some questions that I had been asked and then answered. So we have been to the Iberostar Selection Paraiso Lindo in the Riviera Maya 2 times. We went in June 2025 with my whole family. So my parents, my sister and her family, and then the 3 of us. And then just the 3 of us went March 2026. So this is kind of a compilation of some of that information. One of the tips that I had mentioned before was using the app. That is really helpful, the Iberostar app. On there, we like to look at the entertainment, what's happening, what's going on. We don't always necessarily participate, but we like to look. Here's a tip. For entertainment at the main pool, which the Lindo and the Maya share a pool, it's going to say crazy game. Usually every day at noon and 4, sometimes it's at 3, depending on what the crazy game is. And then there's no description. So if you're wondering, here's a tip. Crazy game usually means hitting, kicking, throwing some kind of sports equipment into some kind of goal or target of some kind. So that is typically what it is. And most of the time it's going to be open for just about all ages. Sometimes they'll say, you know, if it's kicking a soccer ball quite a long ways, like it might not be the best thing for younger kids, but typically that's true. There's a couple of exceptions on entertainment to highlight. One is called Wibbit, so WIBIT. This happens typically twice a week. It's kind of like an it's an inflatable obstacle course. So it's mammoth. It's huge. You're probably seeing some video here of maybe last June or this March. And they do have different times for different ages. So I know it's like 4 through 12-year-olds. And then I don't think there's a teenage option. And then there's adults only, and typically the kids are going to be racing each other versus the adults are going to be timed. That's been our experience. Reese did it last year. He didn't do it this year, but they do ask when the adults are doing the obstacle course that other people in the pool like splash them, and they have a couple of like beach balls that they're hitting back and forth, and you can throw them at them just to include some extra obstacles. So that's a really fun entertainment crazy game. But they will list that as Wibbit. And then the foam party is another piece of entertainment. So let's talk foam party. Again, I know a lot of you got to us through our Valentine videos. The Valentine has a foam party. It's very fun. If you're 5'2", it can get a little precarious. But last year when we went with the whole family, we went into the foam party, and I'm pretty sure that's one of Reese's top 3 scariest things he's ever done. So this year we knew to stay under where the pool bar is. You can still kind of be foam party adjacent, but you're kind of protected from it. So word of warning. So it's a tip, but word of warning for parents, that foam gets very high and then you feel like you can't breathe because you're breathing in the foam, but if you go under the water, you can't breathe there either, and it can get scary. They did say this time, I didn't remember it last time, but they did say, like, parents, make sure you have hold of your kids. Yes, I would say for the foam party, if you've never done one before, and if you have kids, and I mean, last year Reese would have been 13, so it's not even like little kids, stay on the periphery, maybe stay in the pool bar area. You can kind of be part of the action, but not feel like you're gonna die. A lot of families would come into that pool bar area to kind of escape, and just the looks of sheer terror. It's really fun. It's really fun as long as you kind of, like, we had a blast this time because Reese knew more what to expect. We really kind of stayed more on the outside. Okay, the mall. I didn't spend too much time talking about the mall. I only went to the mall once this trip. I had gone a couple of times the last one, and we've talked about the mall in terms of food, but I just really want to highlight because we went one evening kind of just exploring, so I'm going to talk about that. But we went just exploring exploring and ended up kind of walking through that mall area. They were going to have a pirate show for the kids, and so they were setting up for that. There was a ton of people there. Again, the mall food is included. I was going to say the mall's all included, but there's shops there. So there are shops in the mall. There's a barber in the mall. There's a nightclub that we've never gone in. There's a church in the mall I think we've entered the chapel area, but we've never attended services there. There's a playground that has a lot of the shade kinds of canopy things over top of it. There's a place to get hamburgers. There's a place to get tacos. There is a place to get gelato and crepes. So those are one place together. There's like, it's called Star Cafe, so it's kind of like Starbucks, you know, so a coffee shop there. One of the things we had not done before was churros. So in my notes here, I have churros with an exclamation point. We had never, and we were just kind of walking around the outside of the mall, and we're like, well, let's stop in there. We hadn't had dinner yet, and we went in. Oh my goodness. And there's so many options. I stuck with the classic, the basic. I wish that I would have gotten one for me and one for Justin because we had to share it, and I wish I would have had my own. So definitely go there, especially it is a bit of a walk. It's closer to the Lindo than it is to the other properties at that Iberostar location, but it's still a bit of a walk. So I would say go at night. Everything is cooler. It's all lit up. And it's just a fun way to spend some time. Again, never been there when the like nightclub is going or when that's letting out, but it is fun. Oh, one more thing that's in the mall, because if you know us at all, we do get professional pictures taken. We've had them taken, I think just about every time we go to Mexico now. It's kind of something that we do. Our experience has always been this. In Cabo, it's been this. In all of the different all-inclusives that we've been to in the Riviera Maya, it's been this, where the photography is free. You typically get about an hour. You set that up. They're walking around constantly, and you can make their day by saying, yep, I want to get pictures taken. And I think I've talked about this on the Barcelo videos if you want to go down and look at those, but it's absolutely free to get your pictures taken. At the Iberostar in the mall is where you go then. I think we were able to go that afternoon because we had gotten them taken in the morning last time we went. And of course they want you to buy all the pictures for hundreds of dollars, but we've always been very clear and very respectful and just said, hey, you know, we're just really looking for a big picture to give to our parents of all of us. And we typically end up getting that one, and then like I'll get one of the three of us, my sister get one of her family, sometimes we'll get one of like the grandkids. They end up being $20 to $25 per picture, and we get the digital download right then, and then we can print as many as we want, sizes we want, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good deal. I mean, if we come out of there with complete access to 8 pictures, professionally taken and like touched up and all that kind of stuff for $200, that's a steal of a deal. So if you get pictures taken, you will go to the mall. That is where the picture place is. Something we didn't do last summer, but Reese had been watching YouTube videos, and so he knew if you go to the neighbor resort, so if you know there's Mar and Beach, and then there's Lindo and Maya, and then there's Fancy, and there's the adults only, but you can go to those other resorts and just kind of look around. I mean, you're supposed to just go to the tiers on down, you're not supposed to move up, but if you go to those tiers on down, they have extra wildlife. The lobbies all have a little bit of a different feel, and there are flamingos, and there's a black swan. So I'll put the pictures here. That was kind of something fun. We saw a lot of peacocks, and then we started seeing the peacocks move to our place too. Yeah, I know there's lots of coatis, guys. There just are. There's lots of coatis at all of them. So that's a tip. Just kind of get used to them. Just leave them alone. Do not leave snacks in your pool bag on your pool chair. They will get in there. Like, don't have food. They're trying to survive too. Okay, my last tip, because I did not do the lazy river at all this trip. I've already talked about the lazy river is lazy. It's very, very slow, which is fine. I think that's okay. Just know going in, it's real slow. It's a lot in the shade, which is great if you've gotten sunburned. So just understand that. And I've already talked about bringing your own floaties. I would say if you want to go to the lazy river, go right when it opens. It opens at 10 every day. And when we were there for 7 days, it was open at 10 every day. I think 3 of the days by the time we would go to lunch, so 12:30 or 1-ish. And I know it happened a couple of times last summer, it would be closed. What they told us last summer is when it's closed, it's because an iguana pooped in there. Okay, I tend to think, like, would that be enough to close down a whole lazy river? Maybe it is, but don't just be like, okay, we'll fit in that lazy river sometime in the afternoon, because the likelihood of it being closed for us was about 50%. So I think that's my final tip for you from the Iberostar is if you're interested in lazy river, again, know it's slow. It's mainly in the shade. Know that you need your own inflatables. Most likely, they might have some sitting there for you to use, but go when it opens at 10, or the earlier the better, because it very well may be closed later in the afternoon. Okay, I think that's all my tips now. I'm looking at my notes. I haven't thought of any more since I wrote these notes, so I think we're good. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to try to answer them. And like I had said in the last one, stay tuned, because in less than 2 months, I'm trying to think what today is, in less than 2 months, Justin and I will be going with my sister and my brother-in-law to Haven, which is very close to the Iberostar. So we're really excited for that.